Senator Mark Kelly says that the UAPs over U.S. bases are very likely to be foreign nationals doing surveillance. Okay, I'll bite. Let's talk about that and a whole lot more. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, getting right to it. This is from Matt Laszlo at Askapole. Matt says, who? Senator Mark Kelly, astronaut, Armed Services Committee. Askapole ask, we were struck by your questioning the other day to Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair General Charles Brown on the intrusion of U.S. airspace above sensitive military sites. This came up with Langley recently, and Senator Tim Kaine explained the quandary with rules of engagement in suburban areas. Arizona's got open spaces. Has that ever come up, the rules of engagement out there? Or does the Pentagon not even know what they're looking at? Key from Kelly. So often we don't know who these drones belong to. My suspicion is a lot of it is hobbyists, Senator Mark Kelly tells Askapole, but some of it is also very likely to be foreign nationals that are doing surveillance with low-cost systems that are somewhat expendable, and it's hard to track them. It's also hard to take them down. But is it? I mean, we've heard from Lue Elizondo and others that the government possesses the technology to take drones down very easily. So I'm not buying that explanation. I don't think that Kelly buys that explanation. I think that's BS. But hey, you tell me, guys. You tell me. Caught our ear. You could do a lot with a cheap drone. We see that in Ukraine every single day. So we need to get a better system in place and also deter people from flying around military bases. So myself and Senator Grassley have legislation to do that. And so we'd like to get that legislation passed that would provide penalties if you're found going into airspace above a military installation, and that would deter some of it. It's probably not going to deter our adversaries, but at least you could bring the numbers down, and you could move more effectively and aggressively go after the remaining drone incursions. Now, here's an interesting comment from Askapole assistant Andre Bergovsky. Yeah, okay. And he says, by the way, listening to Kelly now, and he also mentioned hobbyist drone users. It's not really that easy to launch a hobbyist drone into a restricted airspace unless it's a self-crafted quad. Consumer drones have a map of all U.S. restricted airspaces and a GPS to track movements into those. My drone won't even launch in the D.C. restricted airspace or above national parks. I tried, LOL. So I'm skeptical about this whole hobbyist drone users above our military bases stuff, or that it can be done is an honest mistake. So yeah, good point. Merrick VR chimes in saying notable drone swarms, because this has been going on for at least a few years now. 2019 to 20, vicinity of Warren Air Force Base nuclear missile silos. In 2019, we had drone swarms over Southern California, recently in Langley Air Force Base. Flashing lights, no sound, only seen at night. But here's the interesting thing. Merrick traces this all the way back to 1965, excuse me, where 150 UAP with flashing lights and no sound were observed at night around Warren nuclear missile silos. And here's got the receipts to prove it. So yeah, 75 objects, 29 objects, and 44 objects observed by this many personnel. 46 personnel on one day, 70 personnel saw 75 objects on July 31st of 1965 at Warren Air Force Base. So yeah, really intriguing stuff, guys. This is not a new phenomenon, this drone swarm that people have been seeing. Askapole also puts up this tweet regarding the matter. He says, this is an unsettling to terrifying theme from senior members of the U.S. Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee. The Pentagon does not have control of U.S. airspace, especially over sensitive military bases and nuclear sites. So, yeah, it's like they would rather say they don't have control over our airspace, regarding, human flown vehicles, than say that it's U.A.P. That's how secretive this is. They would rather say, yeah, we don't have control, than it's UFOs. Of course, they don't have control over those either, but they would rather say they don't have control over human vehicles or objects than non-human. Ross Coulthart is also chiming in, saying if the U.S. Air Force believes it has the evidence to support claims these are drones, remote-controlled or autonomous vehicles presumably operated by foreign adversaries, then why can't they present any evidence to prove this? Have any been brought down? Great question, Ross. Great question. Meanwhile, in other news, U.S. Space Force to perform world's first military exercise in orbit. Very interesting. The U.S. Space Force on April 11th announced that it is partnering with private space companies Rocket Lab and True Anomaly for a military on-orbit demonstration. The Victus Haze technically responsive space mission will demonstrate how the military would counter on-orbit aggression. It is a first-of-its-kind mission that reflects ongoing military escalation in the space domain. That is interesting. Ongoing military escalation in the space domain. I mean, if that's the case, they're not really showing that publicly. We don't know what's being escalated in space. So that is really interesting. A little troubling. The U.S. Space Force's Victus Haze. During the mission, a spacecraft built and launched by Rocket Lab will chase down a satellite made by True Anomaly. The Rocket Lab spacecraft will rendezvous with True Anomaly's satellite and capture close-up images. The U.S. Space Force awarded Rocket Lab a $32 million contract, and it gave True Anomaly a slightly lower $30 million contract. Both firms will essentially simulate a realistic threat response scenario and an on-orbit space domain awareness demonstration called Victus Haze. Very interesting, and it goes on, and I'll let you read the rest of the article at your leisure. But yeah, so they are doing military exercises in space. I mean, I guess that's where this is all going, but that's not reassuring. Meanwhile, there has been a new cattle mutilation reported, and I hate to show you those images. I'm not going to blow those up. But from Paul Jones, reading really quickly so you don't have to see the images too much, but I will link to this and you can peruse them at your leisure. Paul Jones says, and by the way, Paul Jones is a U.A.P. anomaly researcher, experiencer, and abductee. The other pics, he says, had a torch with me and checked. Eye missing, clean inside, tongue missing, no blood. Missing jaw strip looked clean cut. Interior missing, area looked clean. No apparent chew marks apart from one mark on leg joint cartilage. Leg looked broken at joint. Found in a secluded valley in the corner of a field. Looked to be a genuine mutilation case. And he also has said no predators had been gnawing at it, which is very typical in genuine cattle mutilation cases. Why do these things occur, guys? What is going on? Is it, humans doing it? Is it the beings? Is it combination of both? Why are they doing that? One of the real mysteries of the phenomenon is why this keeps occurring and has been occurring for a long time. I've talked previously, I'll scroll down so you don't have to see that, that the earliest known mutilation wasn't involving cattle, and it happened in about 1600 in the London area. Where sheep were being mutilated. In one particular case, there were 100 sheep that were mutilated at once, and it wasn't predators doing it. The meat wasn't taken. The fleece wasn't taken. It was just certain organs and glands, as we typically see in these mutilations, that were taken. So this has been going on for hundreds of years. So unlikely to be the UFO control group, barring time travel, of course. That's why I hate time travel. I hate time travel. It's so hard to make sense of any of this, if that's a thing. But it might be. It might be. But either way, I don't see that as a time travel phenomenon. But let me know what you think. Either way, this seems to have been going on for hundreds of years. There's no known explanation for it. If the beings need these organs for some purpose, why can't they just grow them in labs on their ship? So what's going on, guys? I would love to hear your theories in the comments below. Meanwhile, a cool UFO video posted by Think Tank. Think Tank says this is a Tic Tac, and it's only like 15 seconds long, and it just kind of jets off. It just kind of vanishes. And this is from 1990. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it just kind of blinks out. Just kind of an anomalous object that just kind of blinks out of existence or shoots off super fast. Maybe, as Commander David Fravor says, like a bullet out of a gun. So what do you think? What do you think? Is that a good sighting? I think that's a good sighting, but let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, your periodic reminder that Lue Elizondo said months ago in 2023 in October, howdy folks, just a quick update for you to consider. Please know that ongoing efforts are underway that will reveal themselves by early to mid 2024. At the risk of haters trying to sabotage our efforts, I can't be precise at this time, but if you have learned anything over the last 5 years, I never make empty promises. Trust me, this will be worth it. Special thanks to Chris Mellon and Jay Stratton. All right, well, we have come to that time, to early to mid 2024, so hopefully now we're going to see some furniture being wrecked in the very near future. Is he talking about his book release? Because if that's the case, we've heard rumors that it may have been delayed until November, which is a very unfortunate timing, considering the political landscape in the U.S. But, you know, if that's what it is, I guess that's what it is. So is this furniture wrecking going to be pushed back until November, or is there something else going on that may drop sooner than that? Man, I sure hope so, but let me know what you think. Speaking of Lue Elizondo, he's linking to a new article by Chris Mellon on the debrief. The Pentagon's new U.A.P. report is seriously flawed, and Chris Mellon has really been blasting the Arrow report, absolutely justified, and he's continuing that quest to totally bash it, as he should. And he says, last month, the U.S. government's new U.A.P. investigation office, Arrow, submitted a report to Congress entitled Report on the Historical Record of U.S. Government Involvement with U.A.P. This new report is itself anomalous for several reasons. That was cute. First, who ever heard of a government report being submitted months before it was due? I know, right? That's interesting. A little suspicious there. A little suspicious, Chris. Good point. Especially one so rife with embarrassing errors in desperate need of additional fact-checking and revision. Was Arrow director Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, rushing to get the report out the door before departing, perhaps to ensure that his successor could not revise or reverse some of the report's conclusions? Second, this appears to be the first Arrow report submitted to Congress that the Director of National Intelligence, the DNI, did not sign off on. I don't know why, Chris says, but Avril Haines and her office were quite right not to in this case, having spared themselves considerable embarrassment in the process. Third, this is the most error-ridden and unsatisfactory government report I can recall reading during or after decades of government service. We all make mistakes, but this report is an outlier in terms of inaccuracies and errors. Were I reviewing this as a graduate student's thesis, it would receive a failing grade for failing to understand the assignment, sloppy and inadequate research, and flawed interpretation of the data. Hopefully, long before it was submitted, the author would have consulted his or her professor and received some guidance and course correction to prevent such an unfortunate outcome. And you can read the rest of the article at your leisure. It's pretty lengthy, but there you go. You get kind of a sense of the tone of this article, and he's just blasting that error report, and quite rightly too. So you go, Chris. Meanwhile, an update from the McDowell law firm, who is representing some of the American scientists that have been looking into the Nazca mummies. Official statement, part 1. To date, the U.S. forensic team has only performed a cursory visual examination of the specimens with the aid of limited imaging equipment. Any conclusory statements about the specimens would be extremely premature. Part 2. Limitations on our examination precluded excluding or confirming any manipulation of the remains. Currently, the forensic team can only indicate that further examination and study is warranted. We invite constructive interaction and collaboration. Because we had heard, and I had previously reported on a report that I think it was John, one of the scientists, one of the big guys, had said that the foot of Maria was untampered with. There was no signs of manipulation. That was a preliminary assessment. That is not their official report. They have not released any official findings on this, and the McDowell law firm is reminding us of this. So, by the way, I've reached out to Joe from the McDowell law firm, and I am trying to interview those scientists. And he has replied that, it's very early in their studies of the mummies, and they're not prepared to go public yet. So I'm hoping that will change in the near future, and that I'll get a chance to interview them. He had also spoken to Mario, one of the primary or first Tomb Raider that discovered this stuff. And Mario, he had said in a Reddit post, the lawyer had said in a Reddit post that Mario said that the video showing fighting with mantis people and that whole video with the pyramid and everything was fake. That's what the lawyer said in a Reddit post. He didn't give any additional details or who and why this video was faked. So I'm very, very interested in that video. And if it's disinformation or a hoax, that's important too. And I really want to understand, that video and who created it. If it's a hoax, if it's a fake, if it's disinformation, what went on there? Because there's so many props and sets that would have had to be created for that video. So a very, very interesting video, whether real or not. And it looks dodgy as all get out. I'm not saying it's legit, but there is a researcher, Alan Perez, who apparently went to the site and spoke to the Tomb Raider, at least Paul Ranceros, and believes it's legit. So, it's very interesting. I would love more information from either the lawyer or Mario. So I reached out to him and trying to get some more information about that, and he has not replied to that. So we'll see if I can get more information about what Mario had to say about that video being hoaxed. Oh, and I said Joe, but I meant Josh. Josh McDowell is this gentleman right here who's the lawyer that seems to be representing the American scientists investigating the mummies. Meanwhile, this has been getting a lot of attention, this story of the giant waves, the anomaly off of Antarctica, and lots of people, Ross Coulthart was talking about it. Ross Coulthart had a couple of posts about it. Just wondering what this thing is. Anyone know how to make sense of this wave height data in the southern Atlantic on the 10th or 11th of April? Was there really an anomalous massive wave peaking over 14 miles? Or meters. So let's see. The response from Van Tusky is, despite numerous reports of UFOs or Atlanteans launching from the ocean, yesterday's image of giant waves near Africa was due to a model error. Fortunately, our provider, the German Meteorological Institute has already resolved it, and the forecast is fine. So apparently that was just a nothing burger, but very interesting. Last but not least, Danny Sheehan, who I will be interviewing next week. So let me know your questions for Danny in the comments below. I'm really looking forward to this interview. The attorney for both David Grush and Lue Elizondo, who has been in the game forever and always has juicy information for us. Well, here he is giving us an update on Lue Elizondo's book.
The thing is that the book is in front of the Defense Department pre-publication review and security group, and that they've been dragging their heels. There's only a few spots where they're kind of kibitzing with him about what they're saying is that what he has said in the book in a couple places does not, in fact, directly reveal any information that is national security information, but they're concerned that it might lead people in the direction of looking at some of it, and so they're going back and forth a little bit. So it's held it up. So I don't know how long ago it was that I was asked about that, but he's still walking back and forth like an expectant father, waiting for word from them and to release that. So he's got it all written, it's all edited, and they're just doing that review. And there've only been a few places where there was any controversy at all, but I just sent a note to him to find out when he's expecting it to be released. But we'll find out.
All right, that we will, Danny, that we will. But there you go. There's an update on Lue's book. Looks like the secret keepers are still trying to keep their secrets, which should surprise nobody. I mean, look at David Grush's op-ed. Where is that? Where is that, guys? And, considering the amount of juicy information that David Grush has already provided, UFO crash retrievals, reverse engineering, assassinations, the other dimensional aspect of the technology, what was so juicy in that op-ed that they felt the need to censor it and drag their heels on it? Is he naming names? Is it something else? Anyway, so Lue Elizondo is apparently trying to get us some juicy information in that book, and they don't want him to give us that juicy information. So very, very frustrating, but that is what they have been doing these many years, and they are still doing it. But hopefully we will get something, and hopefully it will come soon. Let me know what you think about that and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.